What is up? It is me, Andrew Goo, here, back with another episode of Goo's Coded Podcast. And this week we are going to be covering mostly the same topics as last week, but with maybe a few new updates and whatever. So, without further ado, time to keep you guys in the loop. Alright, so in today's episode of Goo's Coded Podcast, we're going to be talking about a few things that have happened in the past couple of days. Anyways, not really much has happened over the past week other than discussions about what happened in Minneapolis last week when there was a lady who was shot by an ICE agent. So we're here to talk about that. We're here to talk about any new information that may have come up or really anything. So anyways, I have been monitoring the pizza index, so the Pentagon Pizza Index. So for those of you who don't know, the Pentagon Pizza Index is effectively where it tracks who is ordering pizza around the Pentagon. Well, not who, but which pizza chains are busy near the Pentagon area. You know, you see, Domino's, Papa John's, Pizzato, We the Pizza, Extreme, and so on. And the idea is the more pizza orders that come in, the more likely some big event happened. This was pretty high when Maduro was captured. But anyway, one thing I wanted to talk about is what's been happening in Iran. So, as you may know, there's been new accounts of Iran. So there's a lot of people who have been shot and killed. So, at least 12,000 people killed during the internet blackout. So, we talked about this last week, but to sum things up, a lot of people are getting shot and killed by the IRGC, or, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. A lot of people are getting shot and killed in Iran for protesting that they don't have water to drink, they don't have internet anymore, and they have basically a bunch of horrible things happening. Now, I'm not going to make this episode too long for obvious reasons, but I want to start out by saying, number one, I personally am of the belief that if the citizens were allowed to arm themselves and defend themselves against this horrible regime that has been terrorizing people for the past 47 years, the situation will be completely different. Hint, hint, Second Amendment, hint, hint. But anyway, enough about that. What's crazy to me is just the amount of bias that happens in videos like this and images like this. Because we see people protesting in favor of Palestine, but not Iran. Now, why is this? Now, the thing about all this that's been going on in Iran is that they're protesting the Islamic Republic, which, if you don't know, is universally pro-Palestinian. What's troubling about this is that the same people who are yelling "Free Palestine," free Palestine from river to sea. And by the way, they won't even tell you which river and which sea, but for those of you who don't know, it's Mediterranean to Jordan. So basically, the entire state of Israel, they just want to cut off. What's troubling about all this is that they won't talk about the people getting killed in Iran. Why? Because it won't fit their narrative about how the Islamic Republic is just misunderstood. Ayatollah Khamenei is not a terrible bastard who kills his own people when they protest. I mean, look at this. This is just a normal-looking dude. He's 22 years old. I'm 21, so I'm not even that much younger than him. Is shot and killed thanks to this horrible, horrible regime. And it gets worse. And they're trying to burn pictures of Khamenei. They did the same thing with the previous guy. And we all know that this is not good stuff. Now, I want to preface this by stating that I lean towards the right on a lot of issues. Right? I feel like that needs to be disclosed. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm some sort of neutral party when I'm obviously not. I think this is evil. I think people who support this horrible nonsense, like Hassan Piker, can go fuck themselves. I seriously. Excuse my language for 1 second, but Hassan has promoted some of the worst jihad on YouTube and Twitch for so long, it's insane. But anyway, I wanted to bring up this episode because of another YouTuber, not just Hassan Piker. But let's look at LegalEagle. Now, I used to follow LegalEagle. I thought he was a pretty chill dude. But from what I can tell, all right, what I can tell about this guy is he is not. Hold on, let me just shut this off. He says he is, you know, let me just show you this. So, and I don't want to get copyright strike or anything, but it says this channel is biased, and he will say, "Oh, I am not biased towards any party." Really, LegalEagle, you are not biased towards any party. But here's the thing: all of your videos, and you know, we can talk about Epstein later, but all of your videos are you slamming Trump because you perceive him to be breaking the law. Whether it's Venezuela, whether it's what happened in Minnesota last week, whether it's any of this stuff, like it says Trump killed, this is murder. You slam him on all these things. Now, again, I don't think you should be slamming him because these are terrible people. But even if you make the case that they are human beings too, you said you weren't biased. How is this not biased? You know? Last I checked, the Venezuelans were pretty happy that Maduro was gone. But again, how is this not biased? You said you were neutral, or you said that you didn't care about being a Republican or Democrat. Here you are slamming Trump at every single corner. Now, I'm not going to say Trump is completely and utterly God, all right? Trump has made a few mistakes. I would say the January 6th riots were a mistake. I would say him telling Mike Pence to be hung, hang Mike Pence. I think that's pretty bad stuff. And I think he should be more transparent about the Epstein files. But this is a very important but, this does not excuse what you said. You said Trump, you said you're not biased. Every single one of these videos are anti-Trump. It's, oh, Trump's worst lawyer cost him millions, or, oh, Colorado may kick Trump off the ballot, or whatever, all this stuff. And yeah, there's one video about Hunter Biden or whatever, but oh, how long will Trump go to jail? All this stuff. And look, maybe Trump's a criminal. He was charged. Maybe. I'm not going to deny that Trump has done some sketchy stuff, but you're not going to tell me that freaking you're not biased when, okay, these videos were uploaded about 4 years ago. There is not a single mention of any of the policy failures that Biden mentioned, or like Biden had. You're not gonna, you tell me, oh, this broke international law, oh, killing or capturing Maduro broke international law, killing the drug cartels broke international law. You're not going to tell me that you're not biased when you keep uploading videos about how Trump breaks the law, but you won't talk about what happened in 2021. Now, a bit of a history lesson for those of you who are less than 4 years old. I know I hate to use this kind of language, but on August 15th, 2021, the Taliban completely recaptured the capital city of Kabul in Afghanistan. Now, why is this a bad thing? Well, first of all, let's just take a look at what the Taliban actually is. Well, okay, designated as a terrorist group by 5 countries. All right, that's amazing. Oh, Afghan Civil War, 1992 to 1996. Okay, that's pretty. Oh, and then you captured the capital after the U.S.-led government completely collapsed in on itself, and Biden gave you weapons. Now, hang on. Now, why is this an issue? This is an issue because, one, what happened in Afghanistan was complete and utter incompetence by the Biden administration. Biden had left behind billions of dollars of weapons, all for the Taliban, which is a terrorist group. All right? And by the way, the leader was assassinated, or well, I don't know if he was assassinated. Some supreme leader, 2015, I think he was assassinated. Point being is that he was this is a terrorist group. And Biden let them get weapons. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it at least shows major incompetence, if not at least some negligence And yet, where are LegalEagle's videos talking about that? There's nothing here. There's nothing about any of this. That doesn't make any sense to me. All right? That was one of the biggest foreign policy failures in all of American history. Probably worse than Iraq with George Bush. Which, by the way, I don't agree with George Bush deploying troops in Iraq for so many years either. But there is no mention of this anywhere. And there's no mention of the open border policy. There's no mention of teaching kids horrible things in school. There's no mention of any of that. Why is that? If you're not biased. But of course you are. You just won't admit it. Now, I've been pretty clear. I am biased towards the right. Okay? I'm not going to pretend that I'm neutral when I'm not neutral. You, on the other hand, you say you're neutral, but just looking at, you don't even have to watch these videos. If you want to lose brain cells, you can, but you don't even have to watch these videos to realize that they're trying to say that Trump is some, and by the way, it's not always Devin who is on the channel. He has some of his friends as well. But you're not going to tell me that you're neutral when everything is about how Trump did something illegal, or Trump did Trump's killing some of the worst people, by the way, some of the worst people on earth. The worst people on earth. All right, Nicolas Maduro is a narco-terrorist. All right, and Ayatollah Khamenei is the biggest terrorist piece of garbage in the Middle East. All right, Trump has done a lot to dismantle some of these horrible groups, but you're not going to talk about the positives of any of that. No, you're gonna say, oh, where is it? Oh, he's a war criminal for invading Venezuela, even though the Venezuelans themselves are happy. Make it make sense. LegalEagle, come on. There's gotta be something missing here, right? But anyway, what brought me to sort of make this podcast episode targeted so much on LegalEagle in the first place was one of my I wouldn't say friends because we don't really know each other IRL or anything, but someone I met, Tactical Templar, has made videos on LegalEagle before. If you watch those videos, you'll see him completely rip apart all of the legal points about how all this is going on. But the point stands is that, look, if you're going to say you're a leftist, and I'm not going to say Hassan Piker's a good person, but at least he doesn't admit that he admits he has a bias. All right, you know what you're going to get. This is a guy that pretends to be neutral but isn't, and that's what makes this so disgusting, in my opinion. Do you want to know how our legal system works? You've come to the right place. Like, no, this is not about the legal system. This is just you spreading leftist propaganda. But anyway, to cut this episode short, I just don't understand what is with any of this stuff that's been going on. Like, this is to be some of the worst takes I've seen on the internet in a long time. And it disappoints me that this is considered unbiased or, just not neutral, nonpartisan. This is partisan, all right? Just admit it, all right? And by the way, a lot of leftist ideas, in my opinion, aren't that great. I have friends who lean on the left. Not a lot, but I do have them. We can have discussions about this stuff, but this isn't a discussion. This is just you slamming somebody for something that you think is illegal. All right? You think that international law matters when it has not mattered, all right? Hamas invaded Israel on October 7th, 2023. I don't see anyone trying to enforce that. In fact, most of the UN actually wants Hamas to invade Israel for God knows what reason. But anyway, enough said about that. I'm just going to cut this episode short. It really just disappoints me that people who say they are neutral are not neutral. And honestly, I'm out. I've ran out of things to talk about. This is just some really, really messed up stuff that is being promoted on a channel that's being told that, oh, it's neutral, oh, we don't support Republicans, we don't support Democrats. No, You're just lying out of your ass. Thank you. Have a great rest of your evening. I will see you next week.